You're listening to ESPN 95.3. PRX Paris Fort Smith.
It's been 21 years for the Illini. But finally, the road will take them to Indianapolis. And to Michigan. The Wolverines are on to the Final Four. Tonight in San Jose, it's an Arizona story. Tommy Lloyd and the Arizona Wildcats are headed to the Final Four. Monger, that ball deflected. Stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds. Mullins tosses it out. It's good. 4.3. Utah goes in front.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, produced by Colton Little with Ty Richardson. This is The Morning Rush.
Didn't feel sorry for Duke at all in that Elite Eight game. And you thought, and I thought, I'm going to be honest. So at halftime, I elected to go outside and mow my yard, which was in much need of it. And come back, and all of a sudden it's a game. And then I foolishly thought, well, there's no way that Duke's going to turn the ball over at the end. And so I went and did some laundry. And so I actually missed that shot live that Mullins hit. Mr. Indiana basketball going home, going back to Indianapolis. So I made 2 mistakes yesterday. Counting out UConn in March, which so many grads, so many great players, Jim Calhoun, now Dan Hurley. I know Kevin Ollie won one, but that period wasn't as long with his leadership. And it's just remarkable what this little school in Storrs, Connecticut has done since the 90s. And once again, gets the best of the Duke Blue Devils. They beat them in their first ever national championship in the 90s. I'm forgetting the exact year. And now they best them in Washington, D.C. in one of the best games that we've seen in the history of the NCAA tournament in terms of endings, Colt.
Yeah, what a collapse by Duke. I mean, they had a pretty big lead at one point in that game, if I recall correctly. And then just to watch it slip away and then, oh, my goodness, to make a boneheaded decision in that moment to throw the ball down the court when you could have just held it, and your coach is telling you to do the same thing. Your coach is telling you to pass the ball too, which is crazy that Shire was telling him to throw the ball in that situation. But in the heat of the moment, whenever things are going on, you kind of get muscle memory, and that is the easiest way to kind of put the game into, to end the game is just get the ball as far away from the opponent's basket as you can. I know that's what Boozer was trying to do, but man, I mean, Raph said it best on the broadcast. Just some major onions to hit the shot in that moment with everything going on. It was a huge, huge shot. And, I mean, Hurley and that team, they are a tournament team. They've been really good the last, 5-6 years in the tournament. They are incredible.
Well, think about their only loss in the last 4 years is to the national champion Florida Gators this last season. And that was a close game. Then they won the previous 2 national championships, and now they're back in the Final Four. Thought Bill Raftery lost his mind. He's still, what is he, 83 years old?
He's pushing 90 and still as sharp as can be.
Yeah, he is, and he's really good. He's really nice, too. Had a chance to meet him a couple years ago and really comes across as a genuine human being. Apparently still gets after it, too, which is just wild to think at his age he's still going out and late into the night. I can't even do what I used to
Drinks
anymore.
like a fish, according to John Fantasy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. He also, there's an interaction that Colin's referring to where Raftery on the broadcast with Fanta, this was either a Big East tournament game or regular season game at the tail end of the season, joked about how he was hitting on with a bartender. And by the way, John Fanta is dating what is his eventual wife at the time, and she didn't understand that he was joking, so that made for quite a conversation that day or night later. All right, that's where we start. Hot Take Monday. What is your hot take from the weekend? It could be about Arkansas basketball. Baseball team gets swept for the first time in a decade. Softball team takes it over the Gators. Plenty of reaction also to get into about this Arkansas basketball roster as well. So all that's coming up here in this edition of the Morning Rush. Tommy's not here the next couple days. He will be back on Wednesday. So just a reminder about that. And we'll take your calls and text on the Lewis Automotive Group hotline as well at 877-377-6963. I know that a lot of y'all's brackets are busted. Mine is too. Right now, I'm going to be honest, I'm leading the ESPN Arkansas host, but I don't know if it's going to last. I need Arizona to win, whether it's Illinois or the UConn Huskies that win on Saturday. It doesn't really help me. I picked UConn to lose to Houston. Only thing I could say is I got 3 of the 4 right. I would Houston just blew up my entire that side of the bracket because I had them in the national championship game falling to Arizona. But either way, you can fill out your Final Four bracket now at hitthatline.com/bracket. Hitthatline.com/bracket. It's our ESPN Arkansas plus Mach 1 Motorsports Bracket Challenge Motorcycle Madness giveaway. And make sure you go to all our prizes. They're crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like Swift's is giving nearly like $1,000 pendant. Butler Furniture. I mean, they're all over the place. We really appreciate Moix RV of Arkansas, Butler Furniture, Swift's Jewelry, and Twin Peaks of Rogers being a part of our ESPN Arkansas Mach 1 Motorsports Bracket Challenge Motorcycle Madness giveaway. Just go to hitthatline.com/bracket, and you can fill out your latest Final Four bracket on hitthatline.com. I looked up the 2 people that are tied this morning, and one has predicted incorrectly the national champion. The other, there's no way for it to be possible. It's Florida, I believe. The other has Arizona winning it all. So and I forget the lady's name, but if she is rooting hard for Arizona to win because she would be our overall winner for that challenge. Ryan and Prairie Grove texted in. Y'all know Dan Hurley is going to bleep around and win this thing. 3 of 4 would be insane in this climate of college basketball. Keep in mind the money that the influx of cash in SEC schools, which didn't get a single Final Four team in, Big Ten schools, which got Michigan and Illinois. You got one Big 12 school in Arizona, and then just sitting up there in the Northeast in Storrs, Connecticut, with not a lot of cash relative to, or in terms of conference, the conference money that's divvied out. UConn just sitting there, continuing to have success despite the changes within the NIL and transfer portal landscape.
Well, and, it makes me wonder if, Dan Hurley and that style of coaching is something that we'll see more of as we go on. It's really abrasive. It's really hard to listen to. I'm sure if you're an opposing fan, or maybe you've got a nephew or somebody out there that's playing for him. I mean, it can be really hard. It can be really, tough to hear. It's definitely vulgar, and it's tough. It's the coaching that I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to, that's what they got their entire lives. It was coaches that didn't seem like they liked you all that much, but when it came down to it, they were there to pat you on the back and be that shoulder you needed to cry on in case you ever needed to shed some tears. But enough of the soft stuff. I mean, Dan Hurley is a badass. I mean, he is hard-nosed, and he has been a coach that's got it out the mud for a long time. So they're going to have a lot of success up there in Connecticut for a long time. And like you said, Ty, to do it in the conference right now where, the Big East doesn't play football anymore. I mean, it's not 2012 anymore. So, I don't even remember what UConn plays. Are they in the American Conference in football? So to have that stuff all split up and divvied up in between different conferences and to still make sure their money's not funny up there in stores and they can afford to get these good guys and these good players in there every year, they're doing something right up there at UConn.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy to see what he's built in stores. And I say he's built. He was very quick to credit not just Jim Calhoun and Kevin Ollie, but also Gino Auriemma for the basketball culture that is in UConn.
They have 2 teams in the Final Four now, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
When
that's
you think
insane.
about the women's and the men's. And I think the women have only lost I think they've only lost 1 or 2 games, if not. I don't think this team's undefeated this year. I felt like I would have seen that, but I think they've only lost a minimal amount of games for the Huskies this year. What's funny about that final shot is the Evans kid, who's really, really good for Duke, has been nails all year. His Instagram handle was get a hand up, and he didn't get a hand up on the final shot on what would have been UConn's final possession of the game. And I know people want to pile on Caden Boozer. Listen, his coach was trying to tell him to throw it up. That was that was a great play from UConn. And also, I got to give that kid credit. That kid fielded they didn't have him at the podium. That Cameron Boozer was at the podium after. I don't know if there was anyone else, but that kid in the locker room fielded every question like a 10-year vet in the NBA. It is when you quote unquote cost your team a game and you have 50 million mics in your face. I listened to so much of his response following that loss. That kid is anything but, I don't know if he's 18 or 19. That kid acted like a true professional. It helps that your dad's an NBA vet of a decade plus, and you've been around just the distractions and the attention for quite some time, even though your brother has overshadowed much of that. I just think for him in that moment, I mean, the kid's got blood on his jersey, it looks like, and he's crying. And I didn't like Cameron Boozer, his brother, because I felt like he's the most protected player in college basketball. And I thought Caden was just okay. But to take on the role he's had to since they lost their point guard, and I know what he played yesterday, right, in the last 2 games, I gained so much respect for that kid and how he handled himself in probably the most painful day of his entire life.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. That's a nightmare moment to have that on your shoulders that you cost your team the game, because there's really no one else to point fingers at. Yes, the coach will say the buck stops with me, and I mean, like we said, Shire was telling him to throw the ball, but as a player, whenever the game is in balance and you make a crucial mistake and you lost it. I mean, I'm thinking of a play right now from my high school football career where I'd let a pass go through my fingers and I got picked off against Berryville. Ugh! And it makes me mad to this day. I should have just caught the ball. I mean, that's something that sticks with you for a long time.
Yeah.
And the Boozer twins, they are very, very talented. Like you said, they've got that person to lean on with their dad being in the NBA for so long and being a pro, that they know what you have to do whenever you are in those situations where there's a mic in your face and you have to answer questions with, as much integrity as you possibly can. It's really hard. And I mean, that's not something that I would do very, very well at all. So props to that kid. But I think what you said right there, Ty, is those two have kind of skated by all year long, specifically Cameron Boozer, the big one. He's kind of skated by all year long, getting protected with a lot of calls and, the Duke whistle and everything like that. So it was...
which is real.
It's just very real. And it was coming down the stretch there. I wondered if Duke was going to get a little bit of a favorable whistle and to, keep UConn out of the game. But credit to Dan Hurley and
by the way,
Huskies
speaking of Dan Hurley, is that video of him poking the ref AI or real?
I don't know.
Saw that this morning.
I saw that too.
I was trying to verify it and I hadn't been able to.
Didn't really get enough time to look at it, but that'd be funny if it was real.
It's if you haven't seen it, it's pretty crazy. By the way, Josh texted in out of Compton, Arkansas, saying he saw a license plate that said Mr. Onions. Said it was a Honda Civic.
I love that.
That's awesome, Josh. By the way, and my dad also texted me, the UConn women are undefeated.
That's crazy.
So I don't pretend to follow. I would follow women's basketball more closely if Arkansas women's basketball was good. I don't have necessarily a major reason to do it. And I haven't, I'll be honest, whether it's the Packers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, claim to be a Kansas City Royals fan, even though I'm probably the worst one. You only have so much bandwidth. Tommy always talks about the Arkansas baseball has kind of sucked up his Cardinals energy for back in the day, and I found myself, unless it's like an Arkansas sport related to that they're competing in college, I just don't have as much time to look at some of the other sports that are going on.
No.
Because you only have so much time, and I'm saying this as a single guy. You've got a wife and a kid, so it's a little different for you. It's even your time is even thinner than mine, but that's kind of what I'm where I'm at when it comes to the other sports right now. All right, let's unfortunately, baseball team got walloped this weekend, and I know it was disappointing for a variety of different reasons. We'll get into that coming up in just a bit. We are brought to you by Mock Legal Solutions. Jackie Submithead and the team have opened a new location in Sallisaw, help Sequoia and LaFleur counties. They can help with slip and falls, car wrecks, dollar buy cases, and she handles all the family law stuff. Been doing it for over a decade. Listen, times are tough, and you can't necessarily just give them $5,000. They understand that. So they offer low down payments, payment plans, and flat fees. Go to mocklegalsolutions.com. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
McNelly winds up the pitch, struck him out swinging, and this game is over, and Florida takes all three. It's a high slider that strikes out Helfrich, leaving the tying run at third base. Arkansas swept at Baum-Walker Stadium for the first time since 2016.
Yeah, it was one of the worst pitch games we've pitched here in a long time. Yeah, Ruiz got hurt in center field when he jumped for that home run ball.
What exactly happened to him?
I don't know. Go back and watch the video. We didn't know what happened either, but he hurt himself, and it isn't good. We don't know yet, 100%. It's just kind of like sometimes when it doesn't go your way, it doesn't go your way. So we just got to keep fighting.
This is the opening drive.
All right, so that's a little concerning.
He's frustrated, man.
Yeah, and deservedly so when you get swept. He's mad not only for getting swept for the first time in a decade, honoring his friend, his former coach, Norman O'Brien, and they just didn't have it on Friday. Didn't have it the entire weekend. The pitching staff is struggling, and you just put yourself in a hole now. You're 4-5 in the conference. You are tied with the Auburn Tigers, who you'll face this weekend. The good news is you beat a team in the Mississippi State Bulldogs that's tied for first. So you have that on your resume. You have that for your RPI. But listen, you've won 2 SEC series and you've lost 1. It's not like they've lost 3 straight. But when you see a statistic that says we haven't been swept in the first time since 2016, coincidentally, the only time DVH has not made postseason, it's a little jarring. It's a little worrisome. And listen, it's going to be, they win like tomorrow, for example. They go to Springfield. They take on Missouri State, 4 straight away games. Then they take on the Auburn Tigers Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. You win this series, you're not necessarily just looking past necessarily what happened in Gatesville, but it's like, okay, you bounce back. Yeah. And that's what this team has to do this weekend is bounce back.
Well, you mentioned the RPI right there. That's something that Razorback baseball fans haven't had to really look at or care about or pay any attention to for a long time when it comes to being in the tournament. We've been solidly in there. We know we're going to host a regional. And if they don't pick it up, they're going to end up having to either go somewhere else for a regional or not get to host their own super regional if things don't pick up in terms of, getting some more in the win column. But I think the boys will be fine. I heard Clay talking about it with Chuck and Bo this morning, talking about how some of these guys don't have a lot of polish. That may be true. They also don't have a lot of confidence either, which I guess comes with getting some wins. So I think that it's just getting back on track this week. You go into Missouri State to play in Springfield, so a little bit different setup than you typically have in your midweek outings. And then the schedule is, it does lighten up a little bit. This is the best conference in all of college baseball, so you can't take anybody lightly. But we talked about this earlier on this year and a little bit last year after the schedule came out. You avoided Texas, you avoided Tennessee, you avoided LSU. Florida and Mississippi State are 2 series that were 2 of the tougher series on your schedule. And now you've got those out of the way. And you mentioned how Mississippi State, that win looks better and better. That's going to help you a lot in your RPI when it comes down to the end of the season because Mississippi State's coming off back-to-back sweeps in their previous 2 SEC series.
Yeah.
So the boys have got to get a little bit better. Dave talked about the pitching being bad. It's been inconsistent, and you thought that's something that you could lean on. I think you just got to get a little bit of your groove back. Go out there and beat some mid-major by about 15 runs tonight. That'd be great. I know this is Missouri State. This is not some, mom-and-pop school. This is a team that's coming to your place and beat you before for a spot in the tournament. So this is not going to be easy or anything, but I think the guys can still do it. I said on these airwaves after they beat Mississippi State and South Carolina that I wasn't really convinced that they were, back in full throttle and ready to go out there and just take on the SEC like they have in years past and just run right through them. They've proven me right in that regard, but I'm not willing to give up on Dave just yet. There's still a lot of talented pieces on the roster, and I hope that as the summer gets a little bit hotter and the days get a little bit longer, the bats get a little bit hotter too.
Yeah, you mentioned Missouri State not being a pushover. 17-9 on the season, 6-3 in conference, have yet to lose at home this season, have an 11-0 record in Springfield. And this has been I know Coach Gooden's not there anymore, but this has been a fun kind of mid-major rivalry of sorts. Like, you've got your SEC rivals, but this has been an opponent that has given you some issues in the past, and you've given them some as well. It's not like it's just one way or one-sided, but a good it's not even a tune-up because you just got tuned up this weekend against the Florida Gators.
And I think that some of it just kind of looks bad because of the fact that you were wearing the retro uniforms. You had a big honoring for Norman Ryan. I think some of the optics make it look worse than it actually is. Mm-hmm. You never want to get swept ever, and getting swept at home is something that the team does not do here very often. So
Again,
you can't overlook those.
It's been a decade, 10 years since it happened. And that doesn't, I don't want you to think I'm making light of what occurred in Von Walker Stadium this weekend. I'm not, but it is pretty crazy. At home, it's taken 10 years for a team to walk into that stadium and beat you in 3 straight. And the situation, so Ryder hits 2 home runs this weekend, and you got him up in the final, what was the final at-bat of the final at-bat of the series with a guy on. I forget who was. I think Rudenbar was on, and that's a situation I think DVH and Nate Thompson will take. Yeah. Like a guy that's hit 2 home runs, and I think Ryder's hitting slightly under 300. I think he's hitting 292 if I remember that right from Stat Broadcast this morning. You take that, and it just again, I feel like I like when this team loses. And listen, the pitching was not good this weekend, but more often than not, we are talking about on this show or any other show for that matter, guys left on base. Well, you had plenty of guys left on base this weekend, and Florida, again, was hitting you all over the yard, unfortunately. And hopefully, again, you move past it, you learn from it, and you take this one tomorrow night against Missouri State, and you take 2 of 3 in in Auburn this weekend. All right, that is your opening drive this morning, brought to you by the Fence Man, 479-782-3936. They've been doing it in Fort Smith and Northwest Arkansas for 40-plus years. That's a great thing. Sean and his team, they mainly serve those areas, but I've heard about them doing jobs elsewhere. 479-782-3936, thefencemanAR.com, thefencemanAR.com. Custom, residential, commercial, built to last, free quotes, financing for 18 months, a lot of options with the Fence Man. The Fence Man, he ain't afraid of no work. And our Hog Update coming up, we are going to talk about the positive news from this weekend in on campus in Fayetteville, what happened in Bogle Park and how that series and how that game concluded this weekend. Also, football back in full swing. The guys are back from spring break. We're going to hear from some assistant coaches, see if you actually know where the assistant coaches, what positions they're coaching. Also, Coach Silverfield this Saturday, too. And then basketball, roster, composition, what that looks like. So it's the Monday after Arkansas has been eliminated from the NCAA tournament. What does that look like for John Calipari? You've got Jordan Smith and J.J. Andrews. Abdul-Toure isn't a part of McDonald's, is he?
I don't think so.
Okay, I think it's just those two. So you got two guys competing in the McDonald's All-American practices and game coming up. So we'll get into all that as well. Hey, have you looked at the odds on Bet Saracen for this weekend in the Final Four? You check those out. So Arizona and Michigan, which some people think is the real national championship, and then Illinois and UConn. Illinois right now is actually a favorite over UConn, and Michigan the favorite over Arizona. I've got both UConn and Arizona moving on. The underdogs in that one. All that's on the Bet Saracen app. Prop bets, NCAA tournament games, Final Four national championship. It is all on the Bet Saracen app. Hog Update when we return here on A Hot Take Monday.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
We had two people over here cooking meth out in the back barn behind the house.
You're listening to The Morning Run.
Hey, Hog fans, Phil Elson here for Bath Makeover of Arkansas, and they're looking for 50 homes to participate in their Spring into Savings event. 50 homeowners will receive test market pricing on a beautiful new walk-in shower. Bath Makeover is proud to be an official sponsor of Razorback Athletics, and they want to evaluate their exciting new product lines in real bathroom conditions, including revolutionary laser-etched shower wall systems. You'll be compensated for your time just to determine if their exquisite product lines are the right fit for your bathroom project. The first 50 homeowners who call 1-800-NEW-BATH will receive 50% off installation of a new walk-in shower. Ask about 0% interest financing, senior and military discounts, receive a $200 gas card with purchase, and call Bath Makeover of Arkansas at 1-800-NEW-BATH to receive a $50 Walmart gift card with your free in-home estimate. 1-800-NEW-BATH. That's 1-800-NEW-BATH. That's 1-800-NEWBATH.
If your Razorback closet needs an upgrade, the University of Arkansas Game Day Collection is what you are looking for, only at Roback.com. They have brand new Arkansas hoodies and polos that are selling fast. Go to Roback.com to check out their new apparel. That's Roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use the code RUSH26 for 20% off your first order. Roback, where action meets comfort.
An abundance of knowledge.
I try to avoid medicine most of the time.
This is The Morning Rush.
Up to $11,000 off on select GMC Sierras at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. The GMC Sierra will conquer the road with confidence. Up to $11,000 off. Or take 5.9% financing for up to 84 months. Lease the all-new 2026 GMC Canyon for as low as $399 a month with approved credit. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
This spring, you're organizing closets, decluttering drawers, and maybe even scrubbing places no one will ever look. But here's a thought. Why not declutter your internet, too? If your shows keep buffering, your games lag, or your video calls freeze, that's digital clutter, and you don't have to live with it. Switch to Wave Rural Connect Fiber for fast, reliable internet that keeps your home running clean and clear all season long. Visit waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372.
APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group has immediate openings in the Northwest Arkansas area. If you're a licensed CDL driver, heavy equipment operator, electrician, diesel mechanic, have paving or concrete labor experience, or experience in a quarry, apply today at jobs.crh.com. APAC offers top pay, a sign-on bonus, benefits including insurance, retirement, and profit sharing. Apply online today at jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, everybody. This is Chris George from Joshua's Fine Jewelry in beautiful downtown Russellville. You need a jeweler you can trust to do all the things that you need, like repairs or custom work or one-of-a-kind treasures, spring gift occasions. We have affordable gifts for every need. Quality natural diamonds, beautiful lab-grown diamonds, silver and natural stones, chains, necklaces, rings, whatever you need. Come see us at Joshua's Fine Jewelry in beautiful downtown Russellville.
Valley Family Dental at the entrance to Riley Farms provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, same-day crowns, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Farmer, and now Dr. Blaine Van Nice work to give all of their patients a better life with a better smile. Valley Family Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A at the entrance to Riley Farms. Let them know you heard this on ESPN Radio and receive $300 off a snore guard. Valley Family Dental, 479-226-3500 for an appointment or visit valleyfamilydentalpractice.com.
What a matchup we've got, folks. Just nonstop action. The energy is electric and the fans are all in. An intense game like this calls for a Coca-Cola. Crisp and refreshing. That's a game changer. Yeah, that taste scores every time. And just like that, they're back at it. Passionate fans and an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Now that's a winning combo. No matter the team, no matter the sport, everyone knows fan work is thirsty work. Enjoy a Coca-Cola.
We have a simple formula at Shelter Insurance. Provide personalized coverage at great rates with local agents to help you choose the coverage you need. And if the unexpected happens, fulfill our promise to be there when you need us most. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Call your local shelter agent, Ryan Hughes in Fort Smith.
Are you looking for a great deal on a previously owned vehicle but want to avoid high-pressure sales? If so, you need to visit Edwards Auto Sales in Roland. For over 30 years, Ernie Edwards and his staff have helped folks from Arkansas and Oklahoma River Valley buy a quality vehicle and offer a buy here, pay here program as part of their services. Some restrictions may apply. Come visit Edwards Auto Center newly remodeled facility, 3 miles west of the Garrison Bridge, the first car dealer on your right, or log on at edwardsautosalesinc.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Come on, Pete. Gage Wood, no hits him. Allen has a wide open man. It's Childs. He's loose. He scores. Childs, please.
Well, Uncle Tommy loves the Razorbacks.
ARKNSAS.
This is your Hog Update on the Morning Rush.
Go Hog.
Hogs down to their final out. Hit to left. Hit well. To the wall. It's gone. Dakota Kennedy wins it. First pitch swinging. A 3-run homer. The celebration is waiting at home plate. And the foot stomp on the dish. And the Hogs complete the comeback to win the series.
Guys, that was so freaking tough. That was so freaking tough. I'm so proud of you. I'm not going to shoot out, call out any individuals. Except, you guys, it takes what it takes. It looks really different every time. Taylor, you were outstanding. That's just a way to deal with this amazing defense. You guys, that took a lot of guts. It took a lot of composure. It took this entire circle. Way to win the freaking series. Wow, wow, wow. Clap us out.
Wow, what an ending in Bogle Park over the Florida Gators as Arkansas takes it over a good SEC opponent. Cordy Deifel and company really happy, really jazzed up after Dakota Kennedy sends one out late. It was 2 on, right?
Yeah.
I remember that out, down to their final out. And you're kind of hoping that would be what the baseball team was able to do, just weren't able to do that. But congrats to Coach Deifel and company as they get a big series win over the Florida Gators.
Every time I hear Coach Deifel speak, I like her more and more and more. She's a true players coach, and she's been here for a while, and they've really been trying to, get over that hump of making it to Oklahoma City. And this team may be the one to do it, Ty. They are very, very talented, and they have some good, solid pitching this year, which is what's held them back sometimes in the past. So I'm looking forward to following their journey this year, and hopefully they can find their way to Oklahoma City, because that's the next big step for this softball program, is making it there to the Women's College World Series, because this team is good enough to do it. So hopefully they can get those bats to stay hot, pitching to stay consistent and healthy, and I trust that Coach Deifel will motivate them and keep them fired up all the way there, because Ryan and Prairie Grove texting here on our Lewis Automotive hotline. The softball team is so fun. They are, man. Every game that they play, they always make it look like they're having a blast out there. So that's infectious, and hope you get a chance, go watch them play, because at Bogle, cheap seats out there on the berm. It's a good place to watch a game. My wife was out there last weekend. She got a sunburn, ate about 4 or 5 hot dogs, said it was a blast. So go out there and do that if you get a chance.
All right, keeping our Hog update going. Football back in action after spring break. We're going to get a chance to hear from Coach Hicks and Coach Wilson today, cornerbacks and secondary. On Wednesday, we'll hear from Coach Smith and Coach Stewart, Coach Larry Smith with the wide receivers, Coach Mitzi. I'm going to be honest, I'm having to I had to refamiliarize myself with this morning of the guys that are on Arkansas's football staff, and then Coach Silverfield on Saturday. I know that Adam Brenneman has been putting stuff out, former Penn State tight end is now working. Was it CBS Sports or Bleacher Report? I forget.
One of those.
Okay, either way, he did his one-on-one interview and toured the facilities. And I listened to a clip this morning, and I was like, man, he's pretty spot on here.
Arkansas, baby. Just being around campus here at Arkansas, you can kind of feel this place is ready to win. This place has all the resources, everything you could need to win at the highest level. Let's get it. 2-10 last year. They're sick of being shitty at football here. I think they got the right head coach now.
Sick of being bleep at football. Yes, that is accurate.
To a T, that's spot on.
There have been some good wins in the last decade plus, but for the most part, it's unfortunately been bad. And you're hoping that Coach Silverfield can change that. I was hopeful for Brett Bielema. I was hopeful for Chad Morris. I was hopeful for Sam Pittman. And hopefully this young buck that seems to have a lot of energy is the one. And I say young. What is he, like 40, mid-40s, late 40s? He's young for his profession relative to his peers and who he's going to compete against on a weekly basis.
Do you watch any of the practice footage during the off season for football and stuff like that?
I will this week, because there's nothing else. I mean, you've got baseball, right? And you've got softball, and you've got Final Four this weekend, national championship come Monday. But then you're sucked into those 3 sports basically: spring football, and then in season in football, softball and baseball.
I love watching those little 10-minute practice, clips that people put, all the different media outlets here put out. They've been doing it for a long time now, several years, and I've been watching them through different regimes and stuff. One thing I've noticed is the guy does have a lot of energy, but there is a much higher attention to detail just in the little 10 minutes that they let us see than I've ever seen before up there in that practice facility on all the past, practice footage that we get to see out here for the common folks. But very interesting. We'll see how that pays off down the road, because attention to detail to me means no more fumbles, no more crucial mess-ups.
Let's hope that's the case. All right, that is your Hog update this morning. I know you were just talking about Gabby going to Bogle Park this week. And just a reminder, single game tickets are on sale for the nationally ranked Razorback softball team inside of Bogle Park. You got Southeastern Conference matchups galore. Bogle Bombers, they're trying to get to Oklahoma City. As you mentioned, go to ArkansasRazorbacks.com. That's ArkansasRazorbacks.com. All right, so I want to unpack this post-Morning Rush Daily Question, look at Arkansas's basketball roster, because you got J.J. Andrews and Jordan Smith competing in the McDonald's All-American game that's coming up. When is it? Is that tomorrow night?
Yes, I believe it's tomorrow night.
That's why I remember it being on a Tuesday, but they're in practice right now, going at some other really talented high school seniors, I guess soon to be college freshmen, and what that looks like. John Calipari mentioned it last Thursday, kind of his roster. He honestly mentioned, I think, Wednesday and leading up to it, but what that's going to look like moving forward. And who do we think's coming? Who do we think's going? That's going to be your Morning Rush Daily Question. Plus, I was thinking about doing a food one. What is today? I had these written down, so I scroll through this rundown. It's also National Doctors Day. Thank your doctor, eye doctor,
Dr.
general, whoever. It's also National Hot Chicken Day, so maybe we get some food stuff incorporated as well. It's Hot Take Monday, 2 on the Morning Rush with myself, Colton Little. Stay tuned for your Morning Rush Daily Question next.
I had a lot of comments, regarding me being a 2-star. I remember every single last comment that was sent to me. I really want to thank those people too.
Touchdown, Arkansas! Mike Washington just kept bouncing off tacklers. He goes 22 yards for a score.
You're listening to the Morning Rush.
If your Razorback closet needs an upgrade, the University of Arkansas Game Day Collection is what you are looking for. Only at Roback.com. They have brand new Arkansas hoodies and polos that are selling fast. Go to Roback.com to check out their new apparel. That's Roback.com. RHOBACK.com. Use the code RUSH26 for 20% off your first order. Roback, where action meets comfort.
Hey, it's Phil Elson for Bath Makeover of Arkansas, now seeking skilled craftsmen. Bath Makeover is hiring the natural state's best plumbers, electricians, bathroom installers, and project managers to keep up with high demand. If you're ready for steady work and better pay, Bath Makeover of Arkansas wants to talk to you. Bath Makeover's commercial division is growing as well, installing over 100 bathrooms a month, knocking out multi-unit projects quickly, easily 10 bathrooms in a single week at hotels, apartments, and government housing all across Arkansas. Bath Makeover of Arkansas is looking for experienced, qualified, skilled craftsmen to join their talented team. To learn more about job opportunities, visit bathmakeoverar.com. That's bathmakeoverar.com. Plumbers, electricians, bathroom installers, and project managers. Visit bathmakeoverar.com. That's bathmakeoverar.com.
I think we're going to do that. 8th grade.
This is the Morning Rush.
Save some green this spring at Rath Auto Resources. We've been hard at work getting ready for warmer weather, and we've put our best roster of road-ready certified pre-owned cars on the ground, priced to move and backed by a comprehensive warranty. With our non-commissioned sales team, painless pricing playbook, and the nation's best lenders, Rath's got the River Valley's deepest bench ready to take all the hassle out of getting your next ride. Don't settle for just any used car. Make the switch to road-ready certified and save some green this spring at Rath Auto Resources. Voted best pre-owned cars in the River Valley. 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith. RathAutoFortSmith.com.
Are you ready to indulge in an unforgettable fine dining experience? Then come join us at Uncorked, where every meal is a masterpiece, crafted with the finest ingredients to tantalize your taste buds. And with our extensive selection of cocktails, wine, craft beer, and bourbons, we've got something for everyone. So why not take a break from the ordinary and join us on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodi's? Come savor the moment with us at Uncorked, where every visit is a celebration.
Budweiser, the American lager. A time-honored recipe, true to our original process, brewed using the choicest hops, rice, and best barley malt, delivering great quality beer since 1876. Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Budweiser Lager Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Valley Family Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, same-day crowns, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Farmer, and now Dr. Blaine Van Nice work to give all of their patients a better life with a better smile. Valley Family Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Let them know you heard this on ESPN Radio and receive $300 off a snore guard. Valley Family Dental, 479-226-3500 for an appointment, or visit valleyfamilydentalpractice.com.
10 years ago, True Grit Running Company opened its doors with one simple goal: to help people move better, feel stronger, and find their stride. Today, we're celebrating 10 years of True Grit. Join us all year long for anniversary events, group runs, limited edition gear, and plenty of surprises as we kick off 2026. Whether you're chasing a finish line or just starting your journey, thank you for being part of our story. True Grit Running Company, 10 years strong, built by runners.
You will never find a boring old burger at Art's Barbecue and Burgers in Fort Smith. Try the Wild West Burger, topped with a hotline, jalapenos, and Art's hot sauce. The Brisket Burger, with tender brisket and caramelized onions on top of their hand-patted burger. Or the famous Art Attack, with house bacon, smoked ham, an onion ring, and a fried egg. There are 10 different burgers to choose from, and they're all $1 off every Saturday. Art's Barbecue Burgers and more. Rogers Avenue next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
Hi, everybody. This is Chris George from Joshua's Fine Jewelry in beautiful downtown Russellville. You need a jeweler you can trust to do all the things that you need, like repairs or custom work or one-of-a-kind treasures, spring gift occasions. We have affordable gifts for every need. Quality natural diamonds, beautiful lab-grown diamonds, silver and natural stones, chains, necklaces, rings, whatever you need. Come see us at Joshua's Fine Jewelry in beautiful downtown Russellville.
Up to $11,000 off on select GMC Sierras at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. The GMC Sierra will conquer the road with confidence. Up to $11,000 off. Or take 5.9% financing for up to 84 months. Lease the all-new 2026 GMC Canyon for as low as $399 a month with approved credit. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Social Morning Rush Daily Question.
All right, you men. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer to the best of your ability.
It's going to be a quick answer to an incredibly terrible, long question.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Check out Nate and Kristen's Place in Lowell online at carpatsocial.com.
Bringing in all 3 or 5-star players, but they're physical. They got a beast to them, which you have to have if you're going to play against 25-year-olds.
J.J. Andrews, Abdul Toure, and Jordan Smith coming to campus this next season for Arkansas basketball. All signed, all of the best players within either their own state or, in Jordan's case, the entire country, as named and given John Wall his trophy for the best player in high school basketball. Darius might win the best player in college basketball. Him, Boozer, Debanza, and who's the fourth? That was a finalist. I had that down. I can't remember the last. But maybe Darius ends up winning that award as well.
Boozer will win it.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, it wasn't his fault that the Duke lost in that game. He was unbelievable in both the first half and even down the stretch, but it was just UConn's game to win. So here's your Morning Rush Daily Question brought to you by Carpath Social. Who is not coming back to this team this year that played a pivotal role on this team? Now, let's knock off TB and Nick because they're gone from eligibility, and let's knock off Darius and Malik because I think it's just safe to say both those guys are going to be first-round draft picks. I say it's safe to say it's a given Darius is, and I'm pretty sure it is for Malik too. So your options on who's not coming back, and you don't have to just give me one. You can give me multiple if you'd like. DJ Wagner, Billy Richmond, Carter Knox, and Isaiah Seeley. And Isaiah, I know, didn't play as major of a role as the first 3 guys I just listed. But who is not coming back? 877-377-6963 for our Lewis Automotive Group hotline. Nate in Bentonville immediately goes to Wagner.
Yeah.
Where I go, Nate and Colton, I have Wagner and Carter near the top. And DJ's been everything for John Calipari the last 3 years. He is probably the most selfless player on this team based on him being the number 1 combo guard out of high school and taking on lesser roles since he's gotten to, whether it was Lexington or in Fayetteville. He just keeps taking back seats to other people, which I think as an Arkansas fan sometimes doesn't get appreciated enough. I know it didn't go this season for Carter. You've got 2 wings coming in Toure and in JJ, and Billy's already on campus, and Billy's taking a larger role and so impactful for this team. So that's kind of where I am with Carter. And I don't know if he's going to get pushed out, but you only have so many rooms for wings on this roster, and I don't know if he can play the 4-position game in, game out. So where do you go on this, Colton?
Yeah, my first thought was to DJ Wagner as well, and I think that would be a hard exit for Cal and company, not because of the fact that obviously you're losing like this uber talented guy that you're going to build your team around next year. That's not the case with DJ, like we talked about. He's kind of underperformed from what his ranking was coming out of high school, and he's never really found a consistent three-point shot, which would have helped him along the way.
Yeah,
I could see him going probably somewhere closer to home to finish off his career in college. Feel a little bit more comfortable that way, but he'd really be the only one that I think is of serious threat to actually transfer out. I'd imagine that Carter Knox and Billy Richmond would probably stay with Cal and company. It's not like these guys aren't going to have options, though. That's kind of the thing, is who's going to, who else would be potentially in a bidding war for some of these guys? You did mention that I'm supposed to leave Malik Thomas off of that list. If he doesn't get a first-round grade, I wouldn't be surprised to see him back next year in a Razorback uniform as well, which also means you get to keep Amir Brown, in case everybody was wondering.
Yeah.
That's extremely important. But also, some of
hype
these
guy.
Yeah, hey, you need one of those. Those are very important. Towel poppers are just as important as the guys that lift the trophies. I think it's really important that we also look at some of these guys, too, that don't get any playing time because they also take up a roster spot. Semedo, Zofich, Kareem Ratile. Those guys logged maybe a total of 10 minutes all season long, and that came from one guy. Do any of those guys stay put, or are those guys just practice players? Do they move on to go to a lesser school to get some playing time? Those are kind of the things I'm interested in as well, because Semedo, Zofich, Ratile, those guys were one of the first, some of the first guys that Coach Cal had brought in last year, and you thought maybe you'd get a little bit of run from some of those guys, two of whom were European pros. So kind of interested to see where they lend out too. But in terms of the names that you asked me to list, I would say that DJ Wagner would be the most likely to leave. But if he stays, you're getting a veteran point guard that knows the Calipari system, that will be there to help weather the storm for whatever young ball handlers will be taking over those responsibilities next season. But I'd imagine that DJ Wagner will probably be the one that's most likely to hit the transfer portal and transfer out of Arkansas.
As of now, with the 3 high school signees, they're one roster spot over 15, and Cal still sounds like he's sticking that 8-9 man rotation, which is what it's been the last 2 years. And looks like it's going to be that same way in year 3. I mean, when you look at the Final Four, and you look at the caliber of big men that are in this Final Four, like Big Z's more of his brother. Thomas Love is just a dog. He's a stud down low. You look at Michigan, what they have in their front court. Arizona, we saw firsthand how dominant their front court was, really across the board. Their guard play, their wings, their front court. And then last but not least, UConn. Is it Jaden Kelly? I can't think of that center's name that has had a magnificent NCAA tournament thus far. Cal has to get back. And I mean, we've said this the last 2 NCAA tournament exits. He has to get back to not just having the great guards and good wings like he's had. We've got to get some big men in here. And he knows that. Like, I'm not telling a Hall of Fame coach anything he doesn't know, but that has to be a priority. And you've got to sway. Like, if you're not going to outbid someone, then you've got to be that salesman and somehow, some way convince the kids, like, I'll be able to get you more money down the road than right now. Because if you're not going to outbid someone, then you have to sell them on your pedigree, not just with the not just with the backcourt, but with the front court. And I'd have to look. Like, Cal's had great big men. I mean, he's had the P.J. Washingtons, the Bam Adebayos, the Karl Anthony Towns, the Anthony Davis and whatnot. But I got to go back and look to the last 4 or 5 years at Kentucky and what he had in the front court there. And like DeMarcus Cousins prior to that. I mean, I'm just at the top of my head. I felt like his front court, and even at Memphis, was more dominant in those initial years than maybe it was in the back end stretch of his final years in Lexington.
I think that, and this is no fault of you, but one of the names that you might have missed right there, Kentucky big man, and this is a prototypical type of guy that I would want, is Oscar Tshiebwe. It's a guy that is going to get you 20 and 20. I mean,
and he would be in that 4-year stretch I was referring to.
Towns and Cousins and AD and maybe PJ Washington, some of those guys, those are pro type players. And Oscar Tshiebwe, he did not have much of a pro prospect. He's probably playing somewhere in the G League or overseas or something like that, having a good career. But sometimes in college, you don't need a guy that's going to go out there and be an all-pro in the NBA. You just need a body, a good, big, solid physical body. And I think that that's what Coach Cal and company should be targeting in this next portal class, is just getting some size and some strength down low as well. Because, I mean, Malik Ewan and, Trevor Brazil, 6'10", 6'11", those guys, they were, they had the height, they had, the wingspan and everything like that, but they weren't built as solidly as you would like to see a primetime center be, that we've seen, Arizona had, that we see Michigan have, that we see UConn have, Illinois. Those guys are built really well. They're physically developed. And so maybe your options are to, transform one of these Euro pros into a super solid, skilled big, or maybe it's to hit the portal and get somebody that fits that bill. But like I said last Friday, these guys that are 7 foot tall and are super skilled and can, play both ways, they don't just grow on trees. You can't just pick them out of the student body. They're not just walking around on campus. You do have to put in a little bit of work and find these guys. So I'm sure that has been, the biggest thing that Coach Cal and company are trying to put their focus on is, look, we've got these superstar freshmen coming in. We should be good at the guard and wing spot. Maybe get one more really solid shooter in here as well. But we should be finding a big man to build this team around for the future.
A couple more or texts on this. Nate asking about about Zofish, Rattel, and Semedo as well. Don't know why they didn't play as much. Who redshirted? Was it Semedo the redshirt? I forget. One of the guys redshirted.
Semedo and Rattel, they were on the bench all season long, but they never had the jerseys on. As far as I know, They were in warmups all year. I mean, Zofish, he at least got some run a couple times during the game. Yeah, but I'd never seen Semedo or Rattel ever step foot on the floor. And it could be that those guys just aren't, they weren't where they thought they would be. Bringing them over from the European leagues, because that is a step down, believe it or not. It is a step down in some of those leagues. So maybe those guys just weren't prepared. Maybe they just needed bodies. And I mean, Zofic, you're not going to see a guy that's built like Zofic every single night. He's 7 foot tall, 285 pounds. I just don't know if he's got the skill they were ready to, the skill that was necessary for them to feel comfortable putting him out there. Same as Semedo. That's a former top 100 recruit, depending on how you look at certain things. And different websites have him listed different ways. So guys that have skill, I just think that they weren't very polished, and the coaching staff didn't feel comfortable putting them out there. But, I mean, are they going to do that again? Did those guys get any run next season? I'm really curious about that. Otherwise, they're just kind of eating up roster spots.
Roger from Harrison, Cal mentioned in one of the interviews that they didn't have the money as last year, so what does that do? I don't know if he was speaking, Roger, to specifically Arkansas or if that was about Kentucky. Because I was in that press conference, and that's a good question. I don't have the rock solid answer to. Casey from Leakin saying, I hope Thomas comes back.
Yeah.
And he thinks Wagner and Carter, he wants them to come back as well, but Cal needs to bring in 2 legitimate big men. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I think what Coach Cal is talking about, he's a champion for the cause, for coaches and for players. He's a player's coach. So I think that his statement about not having enough money was a generalized statement about everybody, having to compete in this day and age. I would hope that this is not about Arkansas. I don't think that John Tyson's going to have any problem cutting him another paycheck for a competitive roster next season, and the other donors as well. And, what they've made from this season also making it that far into the tournament. They'll get a pretty paycheck for that.
Yeah, think about, so Arkansas, as we wrap up, this is a long-winded Morning Rush Daily question, but you're a defensive team 2 years ago, and you make it in, you get to the Sweet 16, and you unfortunately mess the bed and choke it away against Texas Tech. Then last year, this year, you're a 4 seed, and you get to another Sweet 16, and you just ran into what could be the eventual national champion, which would be the 3rd time in 5 years that's happened. Now, what you should set up, and I'm going to say this on March the 30th, even before this tournament has begun. There's 2 sites next year, Omaha and Fort Worth. That should be the goal. And then I think like San Antonio, I forget the other Sweet 16, but you got to set yourself up where you can help yourself long-term. Get to that 2 line. I don't know if they can be a 1 seed next year, but get to that 2 line, get to that 3 line, continue to rise in the regular season and help yourself out in March. All right, that is your Cart Pass Social Morning Rush Daily Question. I know the Masters is going to be here before we know it, and they've got their Cart Pass Social Masters Invitational going on right now. They're also still watching March Madness this weekend. Final Four Saturday, National Championship Monday night. They're going to have it for you at Cart Pass Social. Plus the events. This could be a team event. This could be a get-together with your family or friends. Up to 75-plus members or friends or whatever. All of it is at Cart Pass Social, cartpasssocial.com. It is always BYOB at Cart Pass Social. Jackson Fuller, Times New Record, and USA Today joins us on the other side.
For a fence that stands out and stands strong, call the Fence Man, 479-782-3936. Serving the Fort Smith area for over 40 years, the Fence Man builds custom, one-of-a-kind fences, residential, commercial, and high security. Need automatic gates? The Fence Man does it. Need financing? You got it. 18-month financing is available. Get your free quote today at thefencemanar.com. or call 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
If your Razorback closet needs an upgrade, the University of Arkansas Game Day Collection is what you are looking for, only at Roback.com. They have brand new Arkansas hoodies and polos that are selling fast. Go to Roback.com to check out their new apparel. That's Roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use the code RUSH26 for 20% off your first order. Roback, where action meets comfort.
This Easter, skip the stress and serve something everyone will love. Hey, this is JT Jones with Blue Ember Smokehouse. Let Blue Ember Smokehouse handle the cooking with our slow-smoked, perfectly glazed holiday hams this Easter, made to feed the whole family. And don't forget to add our signature sides to complete the table. The last day to order is Friday, April 2nd, so don't wait. Order online at blueembersmokehouse.com. Call your local store or stop by today. Skip the kitchen, spend less time cooking and more time with family this Easter with Blue Ember Smokehouse. Get smoked.
You've been dreaming of that new workshop, horse barn, or extra storage space? Now let Sutherland's make it a reality. Hi, this is Jeremy, sales manager at Sutherland's. From deluxe post frame packages to custom horse sheds, we have it all. And the best part, you don't have to lift a finger. Our expert crews handle the entire installation. Quality you can trust and service that's been family owned since 1917. 4 stores in Arkansas: Fort Smith, Huntsville, Hot Springs, and Stuttgart. Visit Sutherlands.com or stop by your local store today for a free estimate. No matter the project, we're here to help because at Sutherland's, home starts here.
This is the Morning Rush.
Save some green this spring at Rath Auto Resources. We've been hard at work getting ready for warmer weather, and we've put our best roster of road-ready certified pre-owned cars on the ground, priced to move and backed by a comprehensive warranty. With our non-commissioned sales team, painless pricing playbook, and the nation's best lenders, Rath's got the River Valley's deepest bench ready to take all the hassle out of getting your next ride. Don't settle for just any used car. Make the switch to Road Ready Certified and save some green this spring at Rath Auto Resources. Voted best pre-owned cars in the River Valley. 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith. RathAutoFortSmith.com.
Taco Bell's lunch boxes are going to people's heads. Because once they experience the refined $5 bots, opulent $7 bots, and indulgent $9 bots with the new crispy chicken crunch wrap slider, they start expecting everything to be as Lux.
Home, James.
You know you don't have a chauffeur, right? Don't let the Lutz go to your head. Try Taco Bell's $5, $7, and $9 Lutz boxes today.
Spring is here, and it's the perfect time to upgrade your home. If your garage door needs repair or you're ready for a new look, call Precision Garage Door. From broken springs and openers to brand new doors, they provide expert service and professional installation. Fully licensed and insured, with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers, and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call 844-PDS-DOOR or visit PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Precision Garage Door, voted the best in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Today is the day. After countless hours of research, cutting back expenses, and 9 months of anxiously waiting for her, today is the day you finally bring home your new car. It's also the day to protect her with an auto policy from Shelter Insurance. Our policies are competitively priced and include new car replacement coverage if anything were to happen to your new baby.
See Agent Chris Dooley in Fort Smith.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
The Razorback softball season is here, and Courtney Deifel and the Hogs need your support at Bogle Park this season. Tickets are now on sale, and you can secure your seat to watch some of the best softball in the country. Adult tickets are just $15, while kids get in for just $10. Head to ArkansasRazorbacks.com or call the Razorback ticket office at 479-575-5151 and purchase your tickets today.
Save up to $4,000 on select Buick Enclaves at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. That's $4,000 off and 4.9% financing for up to 84 months on this luxurious third-row SUV. Or drive the brand new Buick Envista, a stylish crossover, for as low as $399 per month. These are limited time offers. Experience the new Buick at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith or online at harryrobinson.com.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, we'll see sunny skies. It'll be warmer with highs in the low to mid 80s and a south wind gusting up to 30 miles an hour. Mostly clear to partly cloudy tonight with lows in the lower 60s. South winds gusting to 25 miles an hour. Lots of sunshine again on Tuesday with highs in the low to mid 80s. An isolated shower or storm possible Tuesday night. I'm Matthew Harding with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
This weather information is brought to you by The Solid Rock, your source for inspirational gifts, home decor, women's boutique items, personalized Bibles, and more.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, you're listening to ESPN 95.3, KVRX Paris Fort Smith. This hour of the Morning Rush is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. You could drink beer, the superior light beer for the social athlete.
It's been 21 years for the Illini. But finally, the road will take them to Indianapolis and to Michigan. The Wolverines are on to the Final Four. Tonight at San Jose, it's an Arizona story. Tommy Lloyd and the Arizona Wildcats are headed to the Final Four. Boozer, that ball deflected, stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds. Mullins tosses it out. It's good. We're 4-3. Utah goes in front.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, produced by Colton Little with Ty Richardson. This is the Morning Rush.
So that call from Iron Eagle is great, but it pales in comparison. Not his fault by any stretch of the imagination of the joys from UConn.
And Boozer, they double him. Back to Sarr. Now ahead to Caden Boozer. And a steal. Mullins gets it. It's Caravan to Mullins. Long range 3. Oh! It went in. Mullins delivers. Bedlam here. They're going to go to the monitor to review it. Absolute bedlam as Mullins threw a 45-footer in.
Now sync that up with the Duke call.
2 seconds. It's Mullins up top for the win. Oh, he hit it with 0.3 of a second to go.
I clipped this part out, but the Duke commentator did immediately go, Malachi Thompson ran off the bench. That should be a technical foul. Yeah. Oh, my God. Just the most Duke possible way to respond to that.
By the way, I mentioned this earlier, and it looks to be real. I can't 100% authenticate this, but it was tweeted out from, I think, verifiable accounts, the interaction with Dan Hurley and the official. I can't 100% authenticate it, but like when he stares at him, Hurley's just a psychopath. He is. And I don't know if I could ever play for that guy, but he wins. I mean, he's won 2 national championships. He's back to his 3rd straight Final Four in 4 years, and it's pretty crazy what he's done in college basketball, especially with the changing landscape of everything. Hey, to hit that line now at Powered by Taco Bell has everything you need, all of our content. Whether it's Chuck and Bo, the Morning Rush, Halftime Ruskin Attack, it's all there for you at hitthatline.com. Mentioned the press conferences with the football team earlier this week. If you want to react to some of what DVH had to say this weekend following the series sweep to the Gators, hopefully he's in a much chipper, much better mood when they go to Auburn this weekend. It is all there for you on the Hit That Line Now app, powered by Taco Bell. Saucy, cheesy, crunchy. That's where you're going to get it, Taco Bell. It is the Hit That Line Now app, powered by Taco Bell. We bring in our buddy Jackson Fuller with the Times record in USA Today. And Jackson, there's plenty to get into this morning, but we'll start with that ending in Washington, D.C. yesterday between UConn and Duke. I'm going to be honest, I went and mowed my lawn the second half, not thinking it was going to be a game, came back in, saw it was. Then I started doing laundry thinking there's no way UConn can get a steal. Well, they didn't. I missed it live. How about that ending in the Northeast yesterday, man?
Man, that's what makes this tournament fun, right? I think, I kind of was resigned to the fact that it was going to be 3 1 seeds in Illinois who felt like a 1 seed for about 50% of the season. And I know UConn's only a 2 seed, but I think you could tell throughout the first 30 minutes of that game that Duke was the better basketball team. But hey, sometimes magic just happens when it comes to these, Elite 8, Sweet 16 games. And UConn, I don't know what it is about them, but under Dan Hurley, they just got some championship mettle about them, and this has been a consistent theme with Duke in recent years too, with choking away at the finish line, just like they did against Houston last year. But gosh, that was fun, and I mean, we needed that given the Michigan game was a blowout. You know, the Houston or the Illinois kind of pulled away late. Same with Arizona and Purdue. It was nice to have one thrilling Elite Eight game.
Well, there's a common theme with these Final Four teams, Jackson. I mean, you look at Terrace Reed for UConn. You look at what Michigan has and Arizona have in their front court. Thomas Law for Illinois and the rest of their front court, what they have in Champaign. I know that was you and I were sitting next to each other in the press conference following Arkansas's defeat against Arizona. Seems to be like what's needed to get to this point in the NCAA tournament is the front court. How much do you think Cal is going to be able to get after it this transfer portal cycle with his pedigree and all the stuff he's been able to develop with big men?
Ty, I think it's going to be difficult. Again, I'm not going to lie. I mean, you look at all of the talent that Arkansas has either potentially returning or coming in to Fayetteville, the 3 5-star guards. You've got multiple wings that could return, and Knox, Richmond, Thomas, DJ Wagner could potentially return. We don't know how that's going to shake out yet, but there is a chance that like 6 or 7 guys that are already like on this team in the rotation, and that doesn't include any big men. Malik Ewan, of course, the rumors and everything kind of points to him hunting that waiver for an extra year from junior college, but that's a lot of money tied up into guys that aren't bigs, and it's kind of similar to what was last year when we know Arkansas shelled out some money to bring back TB, DJ, Billy, Carter. Cal releases that video. There's a lot of excitement, but that makes the bigs kind of the last thing he needs to find, and Arkansas is not going to be alone in pursuing those big men that can be difference makers in the NCAA tournament. There's going to be a lot of teams that need to replace bigs and want to kind of get to that next level, just like you mentioned, that it takes to get to a Final Four with dominant big men. So, I mean, I'm convinced that Arkansas is not going to be shy about their pursuits, but it's going to be difficult. And you look at last year, I think that they thought they had a guy like that in Nick Pringle, maybe not an offensive guy that can go dominate in the post, but at least someone that is going to be a defensive dominant force inside, and that just didn't materialize this year. So I'm fascinated to see where Cal goes and how what pedigree type of big man they're able to bring in this offseason. And really, they big men, I guess, they might need 2 to 3.
Yeah, on Nick real quick, I hated it for him because I felt like he's kind of got a pep in his step in the SEC tournament, and then you saw him not participate in the first 2 games of the NCAA tournament, and then he's hobbled, and he's just giving you everything he got. I think he had 6 points, a block, a steal, and really was a presence inside a few dunks, and unfortunately, just like you said, didn't go according to plan. We're talking with Jackson Fuller, Times Record USA Today, covers the Razorbacks, football, basketball, baseball. We'll get to some baseball coming up in just a sec. Last basketball question for you. You mentioned Malik Ewan. What is his ceiling? Because I saw these incredible highlights of him in Tallahassee. Cal was on him all season. He's telling on himself this is what he could be. He had his ups. He had his downs. What could he be in Fayetteville as the 5, Jackson, here at Arkansas?
I think the ceiling's incredibly high. I mean, I think what happened at Florida State was he was the number 1 option, and that's just not going to happen at Arkansas. You look at, next year, Jordan Smith's coming in. There's a chance, albeit a small one, maybe Malik Thomas comes back. DJ Wagner, if he comes back, is going to have the ball in his hands a ton. So he's not going to be the number 1 option in a way that he was at Florida State, and that maybe limits his ceiling a little bit. But we saw it towards the end of the year, the buy-in, when he bought in on the defensive end and then was embracing maybe the physical side offensively, not only hunting offensive rebounds, but lowering his shoulder into guys, going up with that hook shot, that right-handed hook shot that he kind of had a great touch where it would just hit the rim, bounce up, and then come down through the net. I think he's a guy if he comes back and gets the waiver, he's a guy that could flirt with like averaging a double-double. But at the same time, I think he was a victim of this, and Pringle was too a little bit. The team, but when everyone got to campus and we started to see the way Acuff developed, the team was revolved around Acuff, and rightfully so. He was such a supernova talent. it's hard for maybe big men when, we want the ball in the point guard's hands driving, and we're not going to throw too many post-ups, and, you're going to be kind of the fourth or fifth option on offense. It's hard for them to settle in and find that consistency. Maybe that was a factor in Malik Ewan not quite being bought in on the defensive end early in the season. But look, against Hawaii, High Point in the SEC tournament, I mean, the guy was putting up big-time numbers, and I think that's still a possibility if he returns to Arkansas. It's just I think maybe the Arkansas has to play a little bit differently, make sure they're feeding him a little bit more consistently throughout the whole year.
All right, let's talk about what happened in Baum-Walker this weekend. You basically flew from San Jose, and I guess you flew a direct to Baum-Walker Stadium because I listened to you in the press conference this weekend. But you get swept for the first time in a decade. Gators take you down, and it was bad. I mean, Coach DeBryan was honored on Friday, and had the jerseys and everything else, and the team unfortunately just didn't have it. Pitching, you left guys on base. Even the last game, Ryder Helfrich's got a guy on and a chance to win and at least get a win against the Gators. And unfortunately, they take it 7-6. Jackson, what is this baseball team right now heading into Springfield tomorrow night and Auburn this weekend?
It felt like this type of series was on the horizon for them, where they eked out a series win against Mississippi State, and then despite forcing South Carolina to fire Paul Maneri after one game, they kind of eked out another series win against South Carolina. Florida is loaded. I mean, I know they had a bad result last weekend down in Alabama, but this is a terrific college baseball team that could end up in Omaha. And the matchup just wasn't great because everything that Arkansas does well, pitching, get good hitting from the biggest hitters in the lineup, Florida did just a little bit better this weekend, to be honest. And it really all starts with the starting pitching for me. I mean, we know what this team is offensively right now. They're going to be opportunistic. They're not 1 through 9 nearly as good as they were last year, but they've got guys like Helfrich and Kojal hitting in the middle of the lineup that are going to have some really big games and might be able to carry you every now and then. But the starting pitching has to be good, and it just was not this weekend. I mean, Gackel couldn't get through 2 innings. Fisher couldn't get through 3. Dietz comes out in the 5th and walks the first guy he sees on 4 pitches. That just can't happen. With the way that this team is built, the starting pitching has to be good. It has to give the bullpen a chance, and that just didn't happen this weekend. Every time Dave went to the bullpen, Arkansas was trailing, except for the Dietz start, and of course he brought in a reliever with a guy on and no outs. So I think the pitching, I don't think this is an indication of how it's going to go all year, but this was maybe the best offense they've faced all season, and the pitching just did not hold up, at least for this weekend.
Jackson, you hear anything about Damian Ruiz, who was injured this weekend? I know Dave was kind of ominous in the press conference afterwards.
Yeah, we have not heard anything new other than what happened yesterday was he tried to rob a home run and he injured himself, and he was going in for an MRI and I heard it's on one of the knees, but nothing new after that. I mean, gosh, that would be terrible. A really big loss for them because he had kind of settled in at that leadoff spot, or just kind of being a guy that can get on base and steal bases and was a good defender. A lot of pressure is now going to reside on Christian Turner, the freshman, I think, if he's out for a long term.
Another team on campus played Florida too. Softball team takes it walk-off series win, crazy ending in Bogle Park. Can't say enough about Courtney Dipple. I saw something. They had like the previous 20-plus years, they had never beaten Florida, and now she's won the last, I think, 3 series against the Gators. What can you say about what she's built to Fayetteville? And I know you cover this a little closer than I do. What are the chances they can finally burst through and get to Oklahoma City with this roster currently this year?
I think the most impressive thing about what she's done is she's built depth where this program can lose a Bree Ellis and still be fine, be a top 10 team. They're a little bit different this year, maybe not as power heavy or reliant on one player, but the lineup itself has matured. They've got 2-3 really good pitchers. It's just a program that it feels like right now it's rolling in a way where there's not going to be a down year. Even if you lose an All-American, even if you lose a Player of the Year, there's players that are waiting as young players, as freshmen, and then she just does enough in the transfer portal to reload. There's no such thing as a rebuild. It's a reload under Deifel. And, I mean, gosh, the SEC is so darn good, and Arkansas is just right there with those top programs in the conference now.
Jackson, before we let you go, again, Jackson Fuller's with us, Times Record in USA Today, covers all things Razorbacks. Final Four this weekend, Saturday, Monday, Who do you like in the two games on Saturday, and who takes it all home Monday night?
I like Illinois and Arizona
in
the two games. I don't know. I think UConn is good, but a little fluky against Duke. I think they're going to be a trendy pick, but I think Illinois is playing its best basketball in the season. And I just like Arizona. I think, a team that doesn't have to make threes to win, but can when they need it, that's very scary. And what we saw from Pete and Krivas, that front court, they have a chance to just go and run over the Final Four, I think. So it should be a good game against Michigan, but I think Arizona's front court is going to power the Wildcats to the national title.
I'm not going to lie, I was a little surprised to see Illinois as the betting favorite initially when this came out. I understand why Michigan is slightly the betting favorite against Arizona. I could see that line shifting and where the money's coming on the Wildcats, but that kind of caught me off guard when I initially saw that. Following the wins yesterday. All right, Jackson, I know you got some stuff you got to do Monday. It's busy time for Saul. Appreciate you joining us this morning, brother.
Thanks, Ty. Talk to you soon.
All right, that's Jackson Fuller, Times Record, USA Today. Does a great job covering the Razorbacks, and he's a good dude, too. We're brought to you this morning by the Good Feet Store. Hey, listen, I know you might be dealing with some foot, leg, back pain. You're not alone. The Good Feet Store, they have these arch supports that are designed to help alleviate that pain, whatever you're dealing with, foot, knee, hip, back, and they help improve balance and help you comfortable, live a better life. The Good Feet Store shows you how you can turn that pain into possibilities with a free fitting. You're going to get personally fit for an arch support by a specialist. You walk around, see how they feel, and you decide if they're right for you before you buy. Now, this weekend, take advantage of this special. $100 off this Friday, this Saturday of an arch support system. You got two locations to choose from. The Good Feet Store in Fayetteville across from Walmart on Mall Avenue, and in Rogers next to Hideaway Pizza across from Topgolf. Get your active life back at the Good Feet Store. All right, Colton, any thoughts on conversation with Jackson this morning?
Yeah, I didn't even think about it from the way that Jackson put it into perspective about the potential of, building your roster for next season's basketball
program. He did a good
program.
job with that. Yep.
No, yeah, he really did. But thinking about it from the perspective of last year where you had to lock up the guys that were returning first before you address the needs in the portal. And I wonder if this year they kind of take a different approach to that. It's, look, hey, all you guys that are potentially coming back, look at these brand new toys we have for you to play with. Look at these awesome centers we have to, grab all the rebounds for you and do all the dirty work. I mean, that would probably be an interesting approach to take as well. So just kind of, I didn't really think about it from the way that Jackson put it as, where do you spend your money first? It's kind of really, really important to how the roster will be built. And like he said last year, it seemed like they kind of took care of their own first, made sure they were all taken care of and good and coming back. And then they kind of had to fight for whatever was left over in the portal. I wonder if they take the inverse of that this year and say, hey, look, we got to get these guys first, and then whoever's coming back is coming back. So it's an interesting way of looking at things that I never really thought of from that point of view, because still not quite used to having to think about having to pay these guys, because you really, really got to give them some money now.
And I do remember that video that he referred to this last season. I was excited, and I'm excited if they get guys back for this year. But guys and gals, we're going to be having the same conversation following the second weekend. If they don't go get, unless Malik and Zopic and Semedo just mature and get and retail out of their minds, then we're going to have this same conversation. Because while guard play and wing play is so essential, and like I kind of brought up some big men for all four Final Four teams there, and I don't want to make light of Wagler and like Wagler for Illinois. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the guard play for UConn as well as I should. You got the Elliot Cadeau for Michigan, their point guard that transferred from North Carolina, and then we saw Jaden Bradley and Braden Burrs for Arizona firsthand. You got a senior and you got an outstanding freshman. Like, that team is as complete a team as there is in college basketball. But you think about Krivas, you think about Toby Awaka, you think about Koa Pete. I mean, they're just loaded everywhere. But they come at waves. And Arkansas, really, I mean, you think about Billy Richmond. I know Carter got injured, but there's not a lot of wings that you would take over Carter Knox and Billy Richmond combined. What they are in terms of both ends of the floor. Then you look at the guard play. We talked about the combination of Malik Thomas and Darius Acup. There's not a lot of backcourts. You might have saw one, unfortunately, in San Jose, but there's not a lot of backcourts you would take over those two individuals. But there's a lot of front courts that you would take, and not as much TB, because TB had an up-and-down season, didn't have a great game as he exited, but when you think about the center position, unfortunately, there's a lot of centers that you would have taken over Malik Ewan and Nick Pringle. And Jackson was right. Like, we thought Nick Pringle was going to be this. And I think, again, he's banged up all season, wasn't himself. When he was himself, I felt like in Nashville and then in that one game, and I say was himself, he was still banged up, and I felt like he gave you things. It just wasn't enough. Can you get enough from that position? Jonas Adu was hurt a good chunk of the year before. Yeah. So you've had injuries in that issue, and that's why, again, there's such a delicate balance. Like, I understand the philosophy of Cal going, and he's sticking to this 8 or 9 man rotation, but you almost have to hope you don't have any injuries, and injuries are just a part of college basketball. You hope you get lucky in these situations, and it hasn't bared out luck these last 2 years, unfortunately.
And I think that was some of my argument from Friday is that, look, Coach Cal wants to run the 7 to 8, 9 guys out there on the floor for all season long. That's fine, but you're going to lose one of those guys to injury. You're going to lose him for an extended period of time. It happens almost every year. It has, at least since Cal's been here. You lost Thero for a little while near the end of the season. Adu wasn't himself the majority of the year. And then this year, you lost Carter Knox. He would have been a big piece to help you out sometimes in this tournament run and down the stretch in the SEC as well. Obviously, they still were able to, reach some of the goals they wanted to in the SEC. So I think Coach Cal and company, they do know what they're doing, but getting a real force, like a real block-to-block force, a guy that can, give you everything that you want defensively, but also have an offensive output that is, that is equitable, that can take away some of the focus from these superstar guards and wing players that Cal has an affinity for bringing in. It's an important part of your basketball program, and like Jackson was talked about, really the biggest step for them is figuring out where they want to spend their money first, because if you go out there and, you say, hey, we're bringing back Billy Richmond, we're bringing back DJ Wagner, we're bringing back Carter Knox. Okay.
Which is what Cal said after. They have to address who's coming back first before the portal. That's not verbatim, but I'm paraphrasing what he said after the loss.
And so when I hear that, I hear Billy Richmond, that's a couple $1 million. I hear Carter Knox, that's a couple $1 million. I hear DJ Wagner, that's a couple $1 million. I mean, these guys may not be worth that in your opinion, whoever's opinion may be, whoever, evaluates what these guys are actually worth. In terms of being paid, but you got to be able to give these guys a little bit of security too. And so once you go through $1 million for this guy, $1 million for that guy, $1 million for this guy coming back, $1 million for all these new players coming in, those pockets start to get a little bit slimmer than you thought that they would be whenever you're going out there to hunt a potentially centerpiece for your team. So if that's their approach, you just got to hope that they have, an ace in the hole, somebody that they've been talking to since, late January that they saw in conference play, like, hey, why don't you come over here next year? Hopefully they got something like that. I don't care about collusion or under the table stuff. You're allowed to do it now. And look, your conference rival just hired the slimiest slime ball in the history of slime. So, they're going to be doing it too.
History of slime. Oh, man. All right, we got to hit a break. SEC update coming up. Gary Parrish had something interesting to say about the conference. Plus, if you thought Arkansas's weekend was bad, you should hear about what happened to Tennessee baseball. We'll share it with you in just a bit. Hey, we're brought to you this morning by Farm Credit. When the workday is done, that's when the good stuff begins. Whether it's fishing, off-roading, or just enjoying the great outdoors, Farm Credit of Western Arkansas can help make it happen. Visit myaglender.com or drop by Farm Credit of Western Arkansas's 25 locations today and start making the most of Farm Credit of Western and making the most of your time off. That's Farm Credit of Western Arkansas, 25 locations, myaglender.com. That's myaglender.com. SEC update when we return on Hot Take Monday.
Call or text the Lewis Automotive hotline at 877-377-6963. Lewis Automotive, where the ultimate challenge is back and 600 vehicles must be sold in March.
McDaniel drives around Richmond, but Billy recovers and blocks it out of bounds.
This is the Morning Rush.
Save up to $4,000 on select Buick Enclaves at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. That's $4,000 off and 4.9% financing for up to 84 months on this luxurious third-row SUV. Or drive the brand-new Buick Envista, a stylish crossover for as low as $399 per month. These are limited-time offers. Experience the new Buick at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith or online at harryrobinson.com.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Anheuser-Busch, Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The spring allergy and hay fever seasons are here, and Law's Drugstore has what you need to safely take care of you and your family. Law's Drugstore can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all of the over-the-counter allergy remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointment for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drugstore, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind the Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Fort Smith, get ready to fondue it at TGI Fridays. We're turning up the flavor with our all-new Fondue It menu. For just $3, you can upgrade your favorite Fridays classics with a warm tableside cheese pour served on a sizzling cast iron skillet. Picture this: loaded potato skins, a crispy chicken sandwich, the bacon cheeseburger, or the bold big queso energy burger, all finished with rich poblano queso fondue. Or go next level with our truffle mushroom burger, topped with smooth Alfredo fondue. TGI Fridays Fort Smith. And here, it's always Friday.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Spring has arrived, bringing warmer days, road trips, and unpredictable spring showers. That's why it's the perfect time to visit Southern Tire Mart. From top quality tires to expert service at competitive prices, we'll make sure your vehicle is ready for all your spring adventures. Visit our Fort Smith location at 9700 Highway 271 and let us prepare your ride for whatever the season brings. Southern Tire Mart is a proud dealer of Yokohama tires. We keep America rolling.
Here's NASCAR Hall of Famer Mark Martin. As a race car driver for 40 years, I survived a lot of crashes. Not everyone can run into a wall at 200 miles an hour and walk away. Without a seatbelt, I wouldn't be alive today. Now I'm retired, back home in Arkansas driving my pickup. I'm shocked how many people aren't wearing seatbelts. Why risk your life when it only takes 2 seconds to buckle up? Take it from number 6. Buckle up, Arkansas.
A message from the Arkansas State Police Highway Safety Office.
I want to ride my bicycle. Looking for a new ride or need a tune-up? Champion Cycling in Fort Smith has you covered. From top-of-the-line bikes like Specialized and Surly to expert repairs, apparel, and accessories, we've got everything you need to hit the trails. Stop by 5500 Mazard Road during business hours or shop anytime online at championcycling.com. Champion Cycling, helping you share in the joy of cycling.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
The SEC is the best conference in America.
The tough will survive in this game, and I feel like the SEC is the toughest.
Arkansas is the SEC champion.
You know, every game is a dogfight.
We're about the tough there is.
Week in and week out, you're going to play some of the best, the biggest, the fastest.
The Hawks have finally climbed the hill. It's the first SEC tournament championship for Arkansas.
Where opponents' dreams come to die.
This is your SEC update on the Morning Rush.
This is the suggestion, at least. There was a conference where they were really rocking and rolling down there for a long time. And I'm not going to say we were all innocent up here, but we weren't rocking and rolling the way they were rocking and rolling. But now everybody's spending money and everybody's buying players and everything's been leveled out a little bit. That's the implication. Is that what Big Ten fans believe?
So that was Gary Parrish, CBS Sports, Grind City Media, talking about the comparison within the Big Ten and the SEC. And there was a question Dusty May got asked about, hey, what do you think about the Big Ten? And all of a sudden, national championships in basketball. You got 2 Final Four teams, and he kind of was alluding, it's like, you can ask me off the record. And everyone is kind of insinuating the same thing that Shane Gillis said on College Game Day a couple years ago. Yeah. Well, we can all play players now, not just the SEC. Well, 3 straight national champions in football. No basketball teams in the Final Four. Now, keep in mind, Florida just won it all last year.
Yeah.
So we're making a big deal a year after the SEC won a championship in basketball and got 14 teams in the league. 14. This year, not so much. And Tommy asked the question a couple weeks ago. It's like, what league's going to have a down year? What did I say, Golden?
The SEC.
The SEC.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. There's no way to go up after having 14 teams in the national championship. You got 10 in, you got no teams in the Final Four. Like, if you could repeat, it still wouldn't be the same accomplishment because you didn't get 14 teams in. So now, like, I thought Tennessee would be a good matchup for Michigan. They got obliterated. I mean, just annihilated. And Barnes is, I mean, you think about Rick Barnes, and I know Tennessee fans still yet to make a Final Four. He's better in this stretch lately than he has been the majority of his career.
Yeah.
Like, he's in his 70s, and he's better now than he was prior to this year, which is nuts. So, yeah, I not surprised to see the SEC no Final Four teams. I just didn't think Michigan would beat the you-know-what out of Tennessee like they did this week.
Well, 118 years of basketball in the Volunteer State and no Final Fours for the big flagship university over there. It's a long, long time. It's a lot of basketballs are being dribbled, and none of them have bounced the right way for the Volunteers. I'm not really complaining about that. I could care less. And as for the whole SEC versus Big Ten or stumping for the SEC, I'm not really ever going to do that. I know that it behooves you for your conference to be good so that your team can look a lot better.
I think 0-5 against the Big Ten.
But not good against the old Big Ten here recently. And, maybe there is some truth to the whole, look, we can all pay players now. Everything is legal. It's all on a level playing field. I don't know if Nick Saban was really doing all the things that have been insinuated for this time, like he was really giving stuff to players under the table. It wouldn't be a shocker to find out that he was. But I think the SEC is going to stay like this for a while. And I think it'll be like this until the ACC splits up. And then the Big Ten and the SEC are going to have just a big ground war over who gets which school and, which school deflects to which conference and which one. Because if I'm the SEC, I'm getting my hands on Duke and North Carolina and Florida State as fast as I can. And if I'm the Big Ten, I'm probably doing the exact same things because that bolsters both your football and your basketball and mostly your basketball. But it's very interesting to see just this SEC and the Big Ten discourse go, further and further on because, like you said, they've kind of taken the reins away from the SEC in the college football playoff the last several years, and now no SEC teams left in the Final Four this season. It does look like maybe the balance of power has shifted up, north across the Mason-Dixon line.
Mm-hmm. Ellis from Harrison, Rick Barnes will always be regular season Rick. He's one of those coaches. Like, I've never had ill will towards Rick Barnes, even when he was the head coach of the Texas Longhorns. He comes across, Cal and him have a really good relationship, it seems like. So he would be one of those guys that you would like to see get to a Final Four. He's in that Mike Martin kind of mold, the late Mike Martin. You'd like him at some point. And I say I'd like. I don't know if you out there would like because you like to root against Tennessee basketball, which I get. I wouldn't characterize them as a massive rival or anything, but they are a really good program these last few years since he's taken over, and they were under Bruce Pearl. But yeah, you feel bad for that. I say you feel bad. Some people feel bad for that Tennessee fan base. Not necessarily the baseball team, which we mentioned earlier. Like Arkansas, bad weekend. You get swept by the Gators, but Tennessee, man, they lost in the most excruciating way possible. Not just game 3, but all 3 games.
Golfed into the left center field. This one walk-off grand slam. 3 straight walk-offs for Vandy. It's a series sweep of the rival and a total Tennessee meltdown today.
Think about Vanderbilt this last year. Going to Knoxville and just beating the absolute you-know-what out of the balls. They win that rematch in basketball. I think they split the season series. Mm-hmm. Did they play in Nashville?
I don't remember.
Did they play in the quarters? I can't remember on that. And then baseball-wise, now they've been really good in baseball. Coach Corbin for quite some time. Vitello obviously lifted Tennessee to new heights, and now Elander's their coach with Vitello out where I was in San Francisco this past weekend. Man, that's something. 3 straight walk-offs for the Doors as they take down their arch rival, the Tennessee Volunteers, at Hawkins Field. Ugh, man, we lost tough way this weekend. They had it worse in Nashville if you're a Tennessee Volunteer fan.
Don't care at all. Happy that they lost. Happy they lost in an excruciating way. Tennessee baseball is the epitome of what's wrong with baseball at this point, in my opinion. So happy for Vanderbilt to win. But Vandy, man, they've come on really strong here these last several years in every single sport. It's like those nerds, all those alumni from Vanderbilt figured out that, hey, all this money I'm making for my investment firm where I'm the vice president, or all this money I'm making where I'm the president of the railroad or whatever the hell they do up there in Vanderbilt, I can just give this money to my football team and make them be good. Here's $1 million. Here's $1.5 million. I feel like that's a lot of what's going on in Vanderbilt now across every single sport. So good for them. They've kind of been the punching bag for a long time, especially in football. So good to see them get back together. But man, to lose on 3 straight walk-offs 3 days in a row, I wouldn't even want to go out and play the next game. Like, that is demoralizing. That's obviously the nature of the game of baseball sometimes, is you put yourself in a position and you lose. I hate that phrase of it's just baseball. It's just baseball. That's what happens. I think that's a really lazy take most of the time. But man, 3 straight days of just like being in a position to hopefully close it out and you just don't have enough. And then you get walked off 3 consecutive days. Hard to go back out there the next day. Really tough. But like I said, I'm not complaining at all. And I wish nothing but dismay for the boys in orange from Knoxville.
All right, last thing, your SEC update. Arkansas baseball again falls to Florida. Here's DVH on them bouncing back this weekend.
We got to find a way to start winning some. And then, if you can get on a little bit of a roll, you never know when it's going to be, and the positives of the weekend are, a couple of freshmen played really good today and swung the bat and are a threat and made nice plays in the field. And, we're going to need that because we might have lost one of our outfielders today.
You got Missouri State tomorrow night in Springfield, and then you'll take on the Auburn Tigers. That is a Thursday through Saturday series at Auburn. Auburn's 4-5, just like you. You do have that win on your resume against Mississippi State, who's tied for first in the league. You're also tied with Oklahoma and LSU, along with the Tigers at 4-5. That is your current sitting. I don't know how many times the last decade that you've been under 500 in the conference. I know for the first time in 10 years you actually got swept at home. Shows you how tough it is to win in Bob Walker Stadium, much less win 3 games in a weekend. Bad weekend. Coach O'Brien being honored. They get pounded. What was it, 9-4, then 7-4, and then 7-6. You felt pretty good if you're an Arkansas fan. Ryder Helfer get to play, had 2 home runs the weekend. I forget who was on base. I think it was Rudenbar on base, and it just didn't pan out for you. Now, like you heard DBH say there, got to bounce back, and I guess it is a good thing that this schedule is not as crazy as it's been in years past in terms of your competition, who you get to avoid this year.
And, I don't want to be a sunshine pumper. It's not really my personality. But, I mean, you could look at this from the bright side and think about the past where, they've not done well in the regular season and still found their way into the tournament and into the big game. I remember we got a text here earlier on the Lewis Automotive Hotline from BE. They were 18-12 in conference the season they made it to play Oregon State in the College World Series final. So, maybe this is what the team needs, is they don't need to have that pressure of a number 1 seed or a top 4 seed in the tournament. Maybe they don't need the pressure of hosting at home in front of, 40,000 people over the course of a weekend. Maybe they don't need that pressure. I'd hate for it to be that way where you don't get to play any of these awesome postseason games and you make a run and none of it gets to be in front of your home fans. But I trust DVH to get things right. I don't think that this is because they didn't have enough money. There wasn't enough money allotted to DVH or anything like that. Sometimes you miss. Sometimes you miss on guys that you think are able to get ready and and be a consistent force throughout the whole season. They've basically played musical chairs in the infield through the first half of this conference play, and now with Ruiz going out for what could be a long part of this season, if not the remainder of the season, there's an open chair out there in the outfield for one of these young guys who could be clawing up the rank, clawing up the depth chart a little bit to get himself out there too. So sometimes it just takes a little extra bat in the lineup to get things going. You mentioned Ryder Helfrich. He's been really solid all year long, but it seems like at times he is pressing to the max because he thinks that he's the only person that's able to, get runs and consistently get on base. I think he's working almost a 30-game on-base streak right now.
Text from Ryan Prairie Grove. The hats were awesome.
Oh, those look so good. Yeah. And you hated to lose this weekend when everything was going on with Norm DeBryan and being honored for his Hall of Fame induction, and that does make things look a lot worse than they actually are. Jackson talked about it earlier when we had him on in the last segment. That's probably the best offense you've seen all season, and if you're lucky, it's the best one you will see throughout the regular season. So sometimes there's just a combination of you don't pitch well and you face against a team that's really good. It's like what we saw in the Sweet 16 game. You didn't shoot for the ball well and you face a team that's really, really good. You're going to pay more often than not.
All right, that is your SEC update here this morning. It is brought to you by WT Equipment. They still got their Hustler Pro Series sales event going on right now. It's your chance to save some money, up to 20% or more on select commercial Hustler mowers, plus even more savings if you're upgrading multiple units. They stock up the commercial machines so you can trust them every single day. They're built for productivity, performance, and reliability from sun up to sundown. Now, this Hustler Pro Series sales event is a limited time event, and the inventory is moving fast. So you're thinking about upgrading your fleet, it's the time to do it. Stop by any WT Equipment location or visit WTEquip.com and lock in those savings before the sale start.
AK in Bentonville text again here on Lewis Automotive Hotline. He says, this team is a platypus. Separately, all the parts make sense. But when you put them together, you just say, what the hell is this? That's so true. That's so true. You got the duck bill, the stinger on the end. It looks like a beaver. You put it all together. You say, what the hell is this? And it's got interesting stuff. They do have good pieces. You would think that a guy like Gabe Gackle, who's been a really solid pitcher for them for 2 years, would be able to come into that Friday night role and be a good, solid starter, and he's not done it all season long. You would think that a guy like Kuhio Aloy, who has been solid at the plate and was very, very effective last season with runners in scoring position, could be a very good linchpin for your offensive lineup. Turns out he's not hit the ball well all season long either. So that is a very good way to describe the team. They're just like a platypus. All the parts, equally make sense, but when you put them together, it's kind of like a total head scratcher.
What a text here this morning.
That's a great text. Thank you, AK. Appreciate that.
Hadn't mentioned this an hour and 40 minutes in here on Hot Take Monday. Tiger Woods, DUI. Don't know about his injuries just yet. This was in South Florida on Jupiter Island. I would think like a guy of his magnitude and money, just hire a driver
and driving record.
Or Uber, Lyft. How about a sponsorship?
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't understand. And listen, I know we all make mistakes, and we've all probably gotten behind the wheel when we shouldn't have at some point in our lives. It doesn't have to be under the influence of something. You just might be sick or various other things. But
tired.
Tired. That's a good point by you. I just don't. I don't understand. I don't know what it's in his head here. Why he's not giving up the reins to drive from point A to point B. And some people like to be in control.
That's what it is.
And I guess that's his personality. Otherwise this wouldn't happen. But it's just a bummer. I don't remember, was he like there were rumors circulating. I don't know if he was actually going to play next weekend. But I would guess that's completely off the window, off the table now. I guess I should have double checked on some of that stuff, but I hate it for him because he's so fun to watch. He was so fun. I say he is so fun to watch. He was so fun to watch, and I hate that this story just is going in the wrong direction for Tiger Woods.
Yeah, it's taken. I don't want to say it's a tailspin, but he had to work really, really hard to get his image back to where it was before. Obviously, things took a turn, if you will. The first time he had an incident with his, driving and other golf clubs and making his wife or mistress mad. I mean, he had to take he took it like basically a sabbatical for a long time. He was injured from the crash. He had all types of stuff going on. He didn't appear to be, the type of guy that Nike and everybody else wanted to sponsor anymore. And then you come back, you had that Miracle Masters run at, was it 2019? Is that right? When he did it again? And then since then, he's been back in the public eye, back as one of the faces of golf right now. And so to see him still struggling with some of the same demons, it appears, it really does suck. Because Tiger was always chasing the Golden Bear, and he was always chasing, those legends that came before him too. And I don't pretend to know nearly as much about golf as you or Tommy, but I know the name of Tiger Woods. It was always one of those names that on Sunday afternoons in the spring, my dad would turn the TV on and say, we got to watch Tiger. We got to watch Tiger, because he was just so captivating. And I don't think that what he's done off the course can take away from any of that, but he can't be on the course if what he's doing off the course won't allow him to be there. And so you're right, Ty. You got to find somebody that's willing to drive the dude, just get that Uber sponsorship, that Lyft, take him to and from. And, there could be some real truth to that, to where, you're out there on the course and you really can't control anything other than, what Tiger Woods can do with the golf club, which is better than 99% of humans that have ever picked up a golf club. But driving, you are in control. You have everything that you want right there. You can set your speed. You can set your cruise control. You know when you're turning. You know where you're going. Maybe that is something that he's not ready to relinquish quite yet. But you just can't mix those things in alcohol, and you certainly can't mix those things with prescription pills either, no matter how much you might have a tolerance for them, which I think that's what this one came down to. This wasn't the guy was super drunk and he couldn't function and operate the vehicle. He might have just not known his dose and, not been able to, handle some of the side effects from the prescription medication he was likely legally given. I saw the picture of him after he was, the vehicle was flipped over.
Eyes looked messed up.
He looked like he'd been up for a little while. It looked like he hadn't slept very well, but he was also kind of coherent as well. He was standing up, making an emergency phone call. Like, he was able to walk and move around. So we don't know all the details yet, but you just don't want to see someone that's this, has such a positive outlook, has such a positive meaning to the game of golf, have to go down in this way again. You hope he's, able to come back and, compete still if he has it in him and still be that great face of golf that he has been for so long.
All right, we got one more segment coming up here on a Hot Take Monday. Colton Little, Ty Richardson, Tommy back with us on Wednesday.
Thank
Perfect
God.
timing for What's Your Beef Wednesday. We're brought to you by Gaston's White River Resort, 870-431-5202. Clint Jacob, the team at Gaston's. Love to have you out. If you haven't been out, maybe you've heard this ad, and much better ad read by Tommy for a number of years now, and you haven't actually pulled the trigger and made the trip. 870-431-5202. You can call them right now. They offer the private accommodations, really good food at the restaurant, and a great time fishing. I've been a couple times. It's a blast. A lot of our team has been. We've had so many listeners have been. Go to their Facebook. Go check out the videos and the pictures that you see from Gaston's White River Resort. Gastons.com. Gaston's White River Resort. A first-class time. Every time.
Call or text the Lewis Automotive hotline at 877-377-6963. Lewis Automotive, where the ultimate challenge is back and 600 vehicles must be sold in March.
This is a pretty frequent topic of discussion in that cutthroat Arkansas sports radio market.
This is the Morning Rush.
Spring is in the air, and the fish are biting, the gobblers are strutting, and the trees are blooming. Jelco Outdoors, your locally owned one-stop shop, is ready to help you get outside and enjoy the great outdoors. Stop by and let our friendly staff help you get the gear you need. Jelco Outdoors, your store for hunt, fish, and work. That's what we do. Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors.
It's our 48th anniversary at Burton Pools and Spas. Save on Doughboy pools up to $12.50 off above ground pools and semi-in-ground pools starting at $17,999. Doughboy pools are the most durable with the best warranty and proudly made in the USA. Ready to relax? Hot Springs is the #1 selling hot tub brand, starting at $59 a month. Grab these deals at all Burton Pools and Spas locations. Burton Pools and Spas, water for a better life.
Taco Bell's new Lutz Value Menu has so much Lutz, it's starting to go to people's heads. I'm the Lutzierge.
Which is the mini taco salad fork?
Here to help them cook. So when you try the mini taco salad, beef and potato loaded griller, or chips and nacho supreme dip, enjoy the Lutz. Just don't let it go to your head.
Bring the car around.
You know there's no valet.
Then who's getting the car?
Taco Bell's new Lutz Value Menu. 10 extravagant indulgences, all $3 or less.
Hey everyone, Wes Thompson here, General Manager of Moix RV Hot Springs Landing. The RV show is over, but we're going into overtime. We're slashing prices on the brands you love. Grand Design, Brinkley, Alliance, and more. Plus, right now, grab up to a $2,000 shopping spree on select units. Don't wait. Your next adventure starts at 2621 East Grand Avenue or online at moixrv.com. We have the RVs.
Spring is here, and it's the perfect time to upgrade your home. If your garage door needs repair or you're ready for a new look, call Precision Garage Door. From broken springs and openers to brand new doors, they provide expert service and professional installation. Fully licensed and insured, with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers, and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call 844-PDS-DOOR or visit PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Precision Garage Door, voted the best in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
You've been dreaming of that new workshop, horse barn, or extra storage space? Now let Settlins make it a
reality. Hi, this is Jeremy, sales manager at Sutherland's. From deluxe post frame packages to custom horse sheds, we have it all. And the best part, you don't have to lift a finger. Our expert crews handle the entire installation. Quality you can trust and service that's been family owned since 1917. 4 stores in Arkansas: Fort Smith, Huntsville, Hot Springs, and Stuttgart. Visit Sutherlands.com or stop by your local store today for a free estimate. No matter the project, we're here to help, because at Sutherland's, home starts here.
Are you looking for a great deal on a previously owned vehicle but want to avoid high-pressure sales? If so, you need to visit Edwards Auto Sales in Roland. For over 30 years, Ernie Edwards and his staff have helped folks from Arkansas and Oklahoma River Valley buy a quality vehicle and offer a buy here, pay here program as part of their services. Some restrictions may apply. Come visit Edwards Auto Center newly remodeled facility, 3 miles west of the Garrison Bridge, the first car dealer on your right, or log on at edwardsautosalesinc.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Call or text the Lewis Automotive hotline at 877-377-6963. Lewis Automotive, where the ultimate challenge is back and 600 vehicles must be sold in March.
Boozer, that ball deflected. Stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds. Mullins tosses it out. It's gone. 1.3. Goes in front.
What an ending in Washington, D.C. Can't get enough of Bill Raftery either. He is just, he's something.
Utterly impossible. The deflection, the reaction, the major legends.
He's so good. He's so good. All these years later. Hey, if you're you wanted to bet on the games this upcoming weekend, I know a lot of us had a lot of fun at Oakland this past weekend. What do they have? Like, it was nearly 40,000 people, I think, at Derby Days this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Arkansas Derby, it's crazy. I feel like that number grows every single year. I had some friends that went. They always have a good time going down to Oakland. It's always fun because you can watch games, you can go to the casino and enjoy the slots, the blackjack, the roulette, craps, and more. They got Rick Springfield coming on Friday, May the 1st. Again, there's always something at Oakland. Racing season still going on. I know people, for another month till May the 2nd, you get racing season, and the weather is great. But that is insane that there's nearly 40,000 people that went to the Arkansas Derby this weekend. Again, always something going on at Oakland. Go to oakland.com. You can always enjoy the 24/7 smoke-free casino. I know they gave away $350,000 in prizes as well, and they've been doing it all month long in March. Go to oakland.com for more information. That's oakland.com. All right, I asked Jackson this earlier. Initial thoughts on this Final Four. By the way, hitthatline.com/bracket. Mach 1 Motorsports Motorcycle Madness giveaway going on. Final Four bracket. You can redo. There's a bunch of prizes still. Hitthatline.com. Very easy to do. Colton, initial thoughts on this bracket?
I think I'm kind of with Jackson on this. I feel like that UConn kind of squeaking in right there on a miracle of God from the shot against Duke. I feel like Illinois is just a little bit better than them at every single position. They're kind of a team that's gotten hot here at the end of March, and they're ready to go. I also think that, Michigan and Arizona, that's going to be one that has the potential to be an absolute rock fight the whole way through, just trading blows. And coming down to the final second, I am going to give Arizona the edge in that one. So I'll have the Wildcats, and I do believe Illinois coming out in the national championship game.
I would feel a little more vindicated if Arizona won the whole thing. And if Michigan beats them, it's because they've got an equally as talented team. I understand that, but I wouldn't feel as bad about how Arkansas basketball season ended if you lost to the eventual national champion, which would be the third time since 2021 that's happened. What did you say on Friday? You'd rather be
I'm tired of being the nail, man. I'm ready to be the hammer this time around, next time.
Cal's got to go get some big men. Hey, we'll keep you updated. J.J. Andrews and also Jordan Smith at the McDonald's All-American stuff. That game, what time is that game?
Tomorrow night. I believe it's 6:30.
Okay.
Maybe 6 o'clock.
Probably, I'm going to guess ESPN 2. I don't know if they'll put that in the big one, but we'll keep you updated on that, because I know Cal was talking about the excitement level of bringing in this freshman.
I was totally wrong. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern, so 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
8 p.m. tomorrow night. Okay. All right, gotcha.
I have to catch the highlights of that one.
Well, that one might be something that I don't necessarily watch lots at night. Josefa texting in this about the Arkansas Derby. He said he just got back from vacation in St. Louis, and he saw a few people that were coming back from the Derby all the way from St. Louis. That's not surprising to get people from not just all over Arkansas, but but all over the country. Again, nearly 40,000 people that attended it this weekend at Oaklawn. Well, appreciate everyone joining us today here on Hot Take Monday on the Morning Rush. For Colton Little, I'm Ty Richardson. As always, coming up, Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Big C. I know that Phil's got some thoughts on how the baseball weekend went for the Razorbacks and what's ahead in Springfield, Missouri tomorrow and in Auburn, Alabama this weekend. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Superstars Joe Klein and Pat Bradley for Arkansas's #1 sports app. That's